going on with y'all, family? Jay Myrax of altruist.com. Back once again. Hope all is well with y'all. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As I mentioned, we do these weekly streams Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Central Time. So if you want to check it out and join live, that's the time. So 4 p.m. Central Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah, man, we're gonna be doing some new stuff in this one as well. Gird Up International Ministries was good with you, fam. One of my true sound creators. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you, fam. If you're watching this and you can see the pinned post, I'm gonna explain that in a second, but let me acknowledge folks that's in the chat. Dope Beat Dan, what's good with you? Salute, fam. Appreciate you for tapping in. In this stream, we're going to be trying something slightly different here. Gonna see how this works, but we also have an audio only chat and fan base app. So if you check the pinned post here, I've put a direct link to the audio only room. So this will give us an opportunity to bring some of y'all up on stage if y'all want to talk directly to your boy on stream. So if you come into the fan base app, I will let you up on stage, and then that way when you're in fan base, you can just let me know, or basically I'll monitor the chat in fan base, and if you want to talk, you just let me know in the chat on fan base, and I will let you up so we can talk directly. So we're gonna try this. Let's see if it works. Always trying to do some new stuff. We'll see if that actually works or not, but appreciate y'all, man. Beat Addict Guy, what's good with you, fam? Peace to you, fam. Appreciate you. But yeah, man, this is what we doing today, and y'all see the title. And I'm gonna let it be known now. Some of y'all not gonna like me on this stream. You're not gonna like what I got to say. I'm gonna make some of y'all mad, and you're gonna hit dislike, and that's all right. You might as well hit dislike right now. I don't care. I really don't care. We're gonna talk about this topic. I think it's important, but I know it's always some haters out here, people that's just like, you always talking mess about this and that. Like, yep. So we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna try to keep it constructive, but we gotta talk. We gotta talk some real sense here. TJ Alexander was good with you, fam. He said MPC gang 100. Word. Yeah, man. Get that Nar, one of my true sound creators, man. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm choosing violence today. I tend to be a peaceful individual, but yeah, I'm choosing violence today. We gotta talk about it. Gird Up International Ministries hitting you with that fire drum machine. That's what my true sound creators are able to do here. So make sure you join. We just dropped amazing conversation with my guy Snipe Young. So if you're a true sound creator, hopefully you've seen that by now. Snipe Young has some gems to drop, and that's just one of several interviews that I plan on dropping in the True Sound Creators membership. So become a member. We're going to be dropping a lot more exclusive content there. So that's just, I got that one coming. And then we also got one from Divided Souls coming. And then we also got one coming from EA Ski, man. So we're going to keep that rolling. So become a member if you want to get access to that. JT, what's going on with you, fam? Yeah, I'm going to speak my piece, man. I'm going to keep it peaceful, man. Masada, what's good with you, fam? Appreciate you for joining. Yak Diesel, one of my true sound creators, man. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate y'all riding with me, man. We gonna just bring truth to light, man. That's all. It's just speaking truth to light, man. That's all. Snipe Young, what's good with you, fam? Appreciate you, man. Yeah, man. People loving the the conversation we had at NAM, man. Much respect, much appreciated for you joining. And I really appreciate the commentary and just the wisdom that you shared, man. It was good stuff, man. So yeah, that dropped yesterday in the True Sound Creators. So I appreciate you for joining the stream as well. The Chuck Taylor, what's good, fam? Appreciate you for joining, man. Appreciate you. Can't stop playing music. Appreciate you, man. Yes, sir. Milo Cesarni. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry, brother. Sorry. Peace from Poland. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Milo Cesarni. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah. Spaces, what's good with you, fam? Appreciate you. Let's see here. DJ Skills, appreciate you. Yes, sir. Gary Smith, he says, how do I feel about desktop version of MPC? Man, we're gonna talk about a lot of this stuff today. As I mentioned earlier, we are trying something different on this one. So we do have an audio only chat and fan base. And this is what we're going to try to allow people to come up and speak directly on the stream. So I'm trying this, doing something new here. So if you don't already have the Fanbase app, I recommend that you go ahead and download the Fanbase app. And in the pin link in this chat here, I have posted a link to the Fanbase room where we're going to be doing the live conversation as well. So you'll be able to come up directly on stage and chat with your boy if you want to join in on the conversation directly. Voice chat only. So yeah, go ahead and click that. The only caveat with Fanbase is if you're gonna come in on Fanbase, then you gotta listen on Fanbase. So that means you gotta not look at YouTube at the same time as the Fanbase one. But go ahead and make sure you got me on Fanbase. And if you want to come up on stage and talk, that's what it is, man. That's what we're going to be doing as well. Donut, what's good with you, fam? It was good seeing you at NAM, man. Definitely appreciate you. Donut will be in my my NAM recap video as well, man. Good brother right here. Good God-fearing brother. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate the wisdom, appreciate the support, man. Always great to see you, bro. So hopefully we can connect more. If you ever back out in Houston, man, definitely let me know, bro. We Create Music TV. What's good, fam? Yeah, definitely go ahead and follow me on Fanbase, man. Add me. And like I said, the link to the Fanbase room is actually in the pinned post here. So go ahead and get that. And we're going to talk. Let me get my notes together. Here. So yeah, man. So yes, as I mentioned, yes, some of y'all not gonna like what I got to say today, but the question is this: did we get scammed with this whole DAWless conversation? Now, this DAWless thing been going on for some years now. Before it was called DAWless, we used to just be hardware producers. It was the whole divide, like, you a hardware producer or are you a software producer? And that used to be the whole divide amongst music producers. And I've always considered myself to be a hybrid producer. I never was like all hardware or all software. I always kind of used a little bit of both in various ways. And you guys have seen various definitely like different integrations that I've used over the years, whether it's the Logic templates or the machine or whatever it was that I was using. I always kind of had like a hybrid style. But within the past 6 years, I would say this whole conversation of DAWless came up. DAWless was a thing where it's like we're escaping the whole rigmarole of just being a DAW-based computer and everything, sounding the same because we have all the same stuff and everybody's using the same tools. And it's all this like information and options overload that you get in the DAW, because you have all these different things, and all this stuff is making us not as creative. Because remember when you used to be like all hardware, and it was just like you would get creative because you had limited options, and you was just using what you can use at your disposal to like really make the music, and it was more creative, it was more inspired. Let's get back to that, and we're going to call it DAWless. And we've kind of been in this mode for a while, people trying to find a DAWless setup that allows them to reclaim the whole creative workflow of being limited. And I've talked about on this channel so much, like limitations and creativity. I do agree, like when you have limited options, you do tend to get more creative with things. But I think this whole DAWless conversation, man, this whole DAWless conversation has really muddied the water. It's really muddied the water. And now we have a situation where people are buying these standalone hardware devices to be DAWless, only to now be back in a DAW. I'm gonna stop right there for a second and I'm gonna let that breathe for a second. I'm gonna just say what's up to the folks in the chat. You said hello, audio. Let me see here. Nikkei Bar, what's going on with you, fam? Like I said, we got the fan base app going too. So if you want to join the fan base chat, come on board. Come on board. We on fan base as well. Just if you want to come in fan base, then you gotta stay. You got to stay off the YouTube one. But yeah, man, appreciate you, fam. Let's see here. Beat Dope Innovative was good with you. Track Light Productions was good. Ellis the Engineer was good with you. F Sample Clearance for you. What's going on with you, man? Layback Sounds was good. Dolo 747 was good. Thy Viral Load was good with you. Yes, sir. B-Tones Beats was good, fam. Okay, so AJ Wise was good. One of my true sound creators was good with you, fam. So here we are. I would say probably a little bit more than 6 years. I would really say that DAWless conversation came around 2016, 2017. That's when it really started to pop off again. So it's a little bit more than 6 years, really. We're really approaching 8 years of this DAWless conversation. And the reality is now we've seen some progress, right? We've seen some progress in it where it's like, okay, we got back to standalone MPCs once again. Amazing. After years of not having standalone MPCs. I've never been an MPC hater, by the way. I'm gonna just let that be known. I've never been an MPC hater. You can see MPC 4000 behind me. I've always had MPCs. I got the MPC 4000. I got the MPC 1. I have an MPC XSE. Before that, I had other MPCs. I had the Renaissance and all that stuff. So I ain't never been an MPC hater. Definitely am an MPC fan. But where do we draw the line with this whole MPC versus DAW thing in the end? Because where we are at now, I feel like we got scammed into going for this whole like standalone hardware thing to be more creative, to have this like traditional MPC workflow where you could like just focus on making the music and not focus on all these plugins and all these different options. And it's about having limited options and really testing your abilities and all that stuff, right? Now we have like, we got standalone MPCs, and that wasn't enough. We said, no, doesn't do all the stuff I needed to do. Well, what are some of those things that you needed to do? That's the question. Because MPCs have, been capable of making music for quite some time. And we've been making MPCs, people been making hits on MPCs since they came out. But all of a sudden, we get the MPC X and the live and all that stuff. It's not good enough. It's not doing what we need. We needed to do this. We needed to do that. We needed to do all these other things. Let alone, like, a lot of the stuff people was asking for had nothing to do with making it sound better, by the way. But that's a whole different topic, right? But wasn't about that, because nobody was saying, like, yes, it needs to sound like this and that. Nope. It was about, oh, the workflow. It's not working like this. It doesn't do that. Okay, great. So they added all that stuff. Still not enough. So here we are in 2025, and we got MPC 3.0. And MPC 3.0 looks like a DAW. I'm gonna let that breathe for a second. MPC 3.0 looks like a DAW. So now I have to ask the question, what did you guys really want out of this in the end? I don't get why there was such an exodus from the DAWs to go DAWless, to be more creative, just to now be back in a DAW. Now, I look at what MPC 3.0 offers. I understand from a Kai standpoint why they do it. Makes sense. They're trying to advance their platform. They're trying to move it forward. I get it. More power to them. But for me personally, the point of using the MPC is to have the MPC workflow. It's not about trying to emulate a DAW. I don't need a standalone DAW. When I look at the feature set, you got an MPC now with MPC 3.0 that has things like track arming as a main feature now. Track arming, like a DAW, like when you click on the record track arm before you record, something that you really never had to do with the traditional MPC. That alone is a workflow killer for me. Like the fact that we now have track arm as a feature that we have to use as part of the MPC workflow is ridiculous. So it's this track arm, and then you have these menus where you gotta go and select the track type, and you've always had to select track type in the MPC. That's not anything new. You always had a choice between the sampler or the MIDI tracks, and then as it progressed, you have the VST tracks. All that's normal. That's normal. We get that, but this whole track arm workflow is very DAW-esque. So that's one feature of it. And even with the before 3.0, they had the track arm, and I hated it. I hate the way it was implemented. The track arm was just terrible in the previous implementation, and it slowed it down. It always made it where it was confusing to know when you're actually recording. That was one thing that was always great about the MPCs, is when I hit record, if I'm focused on the track, when I hit record, it's recording. I don't have to worry about, is it armed? Like, this is weird behavior now that I don't want on an MPC. So then we have this whole XL channel strip. XL channel strip, guys? What is an XL channel strip? You mean like the inspector mode on your DAW? Like the inspector window on a DAW. So that's a feature now. So now we have basically a track inspector on a DAW inside the standalone hardware. So I really want to look at another expanded screen to be able to select other track parameters on my MPC. Okay, cool. If that floats your boat, cool. XL channel strip. Then we have all these different nested menus on a 10-inch screen. If you're an MPC X user, you got a 10-inch screen, right? So we got all these nested menus that we got to go through now on a 10-inch screen. 10-inch screen. Okay, not a 16, not a 13, 10-inch screen. And I've watched videos of people using this on the 3.0 and like, yeah, you got gestures and you can pinch and zoom and all that stuff. Great. It's not very responsive of a screen. If you watch the Sweetwater presentation on MPC 3.0 and you see when he's in the arrangement view and he's trying to pinch the locator points for the loop point, and it's like, it's not moving, and it's like obviously not moving, not responding to what he's doing. You have to question, like, is that what we really want? Do we really want a 10-inch, poorly responsive screen, no mouse, nothing like that, no trackpad, no trackball, no mouse, nothing like that? You want to use your fingers on a 10-inch, poorly responsive screen to now do DAW-based workflow. Okay, let's keep going. Note selection on pads. So, one of the features now is like, oh, well, if I want to delete this section and just keep just the last parts of the last notes of the sequence right here, what you do is you tap all the pads that correspond to all the notes you want to keep, and then you can delete all the other stuff. Again, no mouse, so I have to instead of being able to just like use a mouse and select all the content and just do what I need to do very quickly, I got to tap on all the pads to select the notes that I don't want to be deleted, and then I can just delete the rest. Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I need to know, what are we doing here? So yeah, no mouse support here, not in standalone. No VST support either, right? And I know some of you guys will be like, well, we don't need VSTs. We got, the Air instruments. And guess what? We also got to the rescue, the NI partnership. We don't need VSTs now, right? So yeah, no VST support in standalone, but you got these, new sample packs that are in the new Akai sampler platform that you're getting now from NI, and they'll continue to do that. That's cool. Not hating on that. I get it. That's business, right? Like, they want to sell new content. Cool. Some of you guys are mad because you already got that content, right? Right? Some of you guys already bought Play Series and expansions and all that stuff for the desktop. But it's business. They want to make money off of the new format that they're selling you for the standalone, right? Okay, cool. If you like that, if that's good, no problem. Like I said, some of you guys gonna already hit the dislike button on this. Go ahead and hit the dislike if you don't like what I'm saying. I don't care. we just gonna talk about it. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything that's false right now. This is all real. So if you don't like what I'm saying, hit the dislike button. Not gonna hurt my feelings. So no VST support, but we got new sample packs from NI. Cool. Okay, what else? This is a DAW that has 8 audio tracks. 8 audio tracks. So you want a DAW on your standalone, but it's 8 audio tracks, right? And some of you may argue, well, you can get around it by, sampling direct to the pad. So then you can do that. Yeah, I've been doing that. I've been doing that since I had MPCs. You can always sample, a phrase to a pad. And instead of using audio tracks, you can just sample direct to pads and do that. I've always done that. 8 audio tracks though. Like, what's the point of having a DAW that got eight audio tracks? What's the point? But that's what we want, right? We want a standalone that got 8 audio tracks. What else? So you get these audio tracks, right? 8 audio tracks, and you got to edit them. You don't have a mouse. You got to use your fingers and gestures and all this stuff, right? What happens when you got to start doing things like crossfade edits? Like, if any of you guys really do audio, you're going to have to do some crossfade edits. You're going to have to do fades and all that kind of stuff. You want to do all that using your fingers and what if you got to do that on a whole bunch of parts? Like, because you guys wanted a linear arranger now, right? You got a full DAW linear style arranger, and you got all these audio pieces. So you're gonna pinch and do all these different fades and stuff on a standalone. I mean, yeah. Thank God it's only 8 tracks, because if it had more and you had to go through 16 or whatever track, however many tracks you have in your song, and do that all with your fingers, God forbid. But fading audio is a thing. Like, if you do any type of audio work, you do, even if you're doing video, like the amount of times you gotta fade stuff, slight fades and things just to clean pieces up. Unless you don't care about the way your audio sounds, right? If you don't care, then you just be like, okay, cool. I don't mind. Like, if I didn't cut on a transient, if I didn't do it right, like, cool, no problem. That's part of the sound. I'm doing hip hop. That's the culture. That's the sound, right? I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Laid back sounds. Appreciate the super chat, fam. Appreciate you. Yes, sir. So y'all want to do all that crossfade editing and all that stuff with a touchscreen that's not very responsive. Okay. Standalone. Cool. It's standalone. That's all good. I see some of y'all saying it's standalone. Yep, you want to do all that on a standalone. Cool. No problem. Okay. Let's continue. 8 plugin tracks. Because it's about the limitations in the end, right? It's about having the limitations of being able to like be creative with less, right? I mean, listen, plugins are a blessing. Plugins are a blessing. It's all good. Plugins are a blessing, because we didn't have plugins back in the days of the 3000 and the 2000 XL and all that stuff. You didn't have that. You had MIDI devices hooked up. But wake up call. Back in that day, we were using multi-timbral MIDI devices that usually had 16 channels. Even your rack synths and rack workstation instruments, they had 16-part multi-timbral functionality. So this whole 8-part thing that we're doing now in 2025, when we're used to having MPCs that have basically 64 channels of MIDI, and we would use 64 channels of MIDI because we had all of our racks and keyboards hooked up to this MPC. So this talk about like, oh, the 8 tracks keeps you focused and keeps you creative. Yeah, right. That's not what we were doing. That's not real. Arabian Prince, what's good with you, my boy? What's good, bro? Good to see you, my dude. I missed you. This was the first time that I've been to a NAMM and didn't see you, bro. That's crazy. Like, I usually see you every NAMM, and this year we didn't see each other. Much love, bro. I appreciate you, though. Thank you for stopping by, man. But yeah, we weren't limited to 8 instruments on the old MPC. So I mean, yes, great that we have it now, that we can load up 8 instruments. But this is what we were. This is what we're limited to now. Okay, that's cool. That's what y'all want. No problem. And okay, they added, they got the new little auto slice where you can drag your finger across and it does the auto slice. That's cute. I mean, I think that kind of stuff, okay, cool. Like, that might be one of the main values of using the MPC, is like that new slicing workflow. But I really got to think about this, guys. Like, did we get scammed on this whole DAWless conversation, to be honest? Because like let's think about the MPC hardware today. The MPC, so I have an MPC X SE, so I'm gonna talk about that. MPC X SE has 4 gigabytes of RAM and 48 gigabytes of internal storage with 10 gigabytes that are usable by the user here, okay? It's a quad core ARM processor. Okay, it's 2025. 2025. Listen, that's fast. Of course, that's more power than a 3000, more power than a 4000, more power than a 5000. I get it. I get it. MPC XSE ain't cheap though. You know, we talking about $2,400, $2,500, right? So in the same ballpark now, we can get a 16-inch M4 MacBook Pro, which is 14 core, not a quad core. It's a 14 core with 24 gigabytes of RAM, not 4, 24, and a 1 terabyte hard drive. Not 10 gigabytes of usable storage. A 1 terabyte hard drive for about $26.99. And you can put whatever DAW you use, because as much as we say we're DAWless, I'm pretty sure every single one of you guys have a DAW. Let's be honest. Every single one of y'all got a DAW. So you telling me that we ran out to be DAWless just to now be given a limited DAW on an expensive slow box that doesn't even sound as good as the previous generations of MPCs. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what y'all want at this point, to be honest. I don't know, because I thought the point of doing this was to get away from the DAW. And trust me, I don't have a problem with a DAW. I'm a DAW user. I'm a Logic person. Like, you look at past streams, I always show you guys, like, a lot of the records I'm working on, a lot of the beats I'm doing in the DAW. Like, that's just a fact. I'm not hating on DAWs. And I don't personally, I don't use an MPC because I hate DAWs. The MPC gives me a different workflow. It gives me a different way to think, but I don't stay there. And I'm realistic about it. Like, I know that the real work has to be done in a DAW, and I don't want to work in a DAW that has a 10-inch screen and 8 audio tracks and requires me to use my fingers and gestures to edit and do weird stuff. It's just we're not there. This is not. I don't know what year that would have ever been acceptable, but I don't think that that's progress forward. I think that's going backwards. And I saw someone said, "Oh, it's eight VSTs and not instruments." Yes, we know you can use key groups, as long as you have RAM or whatever. That's not. If you're a 4000 user, you can use key groups as long as you got RAM, right? Cool. Still, it's still not real progress forward. I mean, I've been on Logic for quite some time, and I converted a lot of my old MPC and my Akai formatted and EMU formatted stuff over to EXS24 years ago. And you can load all that stuff up in EXS24 and use it. And I'm not limited by much of anything here as far as like the RAM is concerned or anything like that. So I'm really having a hard time understanding what the value proposition is for you guys today. Can you let me know? Let me know in the chat, because I don't want to rant. I know I'm ranting, but I don't want to just be the only one with the opinion here. I really need to know, what is this about in the end? Because it's clearly not that you're getting away from the DAW. The MPC 3.0 is a DAW. Argue with your mama about that, okay? Once you look at this whole, we got the XL channel strip. Yeah, that's what you got in the DAW. That's literally how it looks in the DAW. And then, you can explode the MIDI and you can see all the MIDI, and it's like microscopic now. And a lot of you guys I'm gonna keep it a buck. A lot of you guys, and that includes me, are old men. Let's be real. A lot of you guys are old men like me that may have vision problems. I wear glasses. So you telling me now I want to look at MIDI notes on a 10-inch screen? Like all my monitors in my studio are at least like 40 inches now, man. What we talking about here? What we talking about? Kelly, what's good with you, fam? Appreciate you. Appreciate you for joining. I usually see you every year as well, man, with Arabian, bro. Man, missed y'all this year. But look, bro, I'm listen. Sometimes I feel like the whole MPC thing is really about being in a club. It's about being connected to a legacy of producers. And I think it's kind of like, that's why I said, is MPC like the Air Jordan of music tech? Because essentially, you know, people buy the MPCs like they buy Air Jordans now. Like, you know, the Air Jordans don't make you necessarily play better basketball at all. It's like, it's just a brand that is associated with greatness, and we want to be connected to that. But it's not real as far as like this whole, especially the modern MPC workflow. The MPC 3.0 workflow is not giving us this classic MPC, like concise, snappy workflow that we used to have. So I would just imagine now that because MPC now has a new standalone hardware, and it's been there for, you know, some years, like 2017, 18, basically, we all have access to having the new pair of Jordans, even though Jordan don't wear those anymore. He don't even care about those. It's disappointing, man. Like I thought that we really wanted to move in a direction where it was about creativity in the end, but I think it's more so about like us fitting in and like kind of tapping into this nostalgia more so of MPCs. Because if a lot of us are honest, you can get a lot more done with a real DAW and a real audio interface. And if you want some analog signal, then you're gonna invest in some things like summing mixers or preamps or some other type of stereo bus rack processor to warm up your sound. You got other things on the market now, you know, saturators, you got tape emulation, the Zulu, all kind of stuff that you can do now with the DAW. So I'm concerned that a lot of us are kind of getting roped into this whole standalone hardware thing just to be sold an inferior DAW experience that you're still gonna have to invest more money to really get it to sound good. Because we've done the test on this channel. If you just subscribed, if you just check this channel out, go back. Like, we got a whole bunch of sound comparisons, 4000 versus this, and you know, the X versus this. We got a whole bunch of that. The X it's not on the same level as prior generation MPCs sound wise. It's not debatable. We've done the test. You can use it, not to say you can't use it. Obviously you can use it. Not to say you can't do something good with it. You obviously, if you're creative and you're skilled, you can make good on anything. You can make good music on anything if you are skilled, if you have the skill set. That's why Madlib can get out there with an iPad and slap harder than everybody that I know on these MPCs right now. That's why that happens, because there's skill involved in this at the end of the day. But listen, if you're gonna invest this kind of money, then listen, that kind of money can get you a lot of great outboard gear that can take you much further and you can stay in a DAW environment where you actually have the full capacity to use the top of the line sounds and the top of the line, processors, and you can use your mouse and keyboard and not have to fidget with gestures and a non-responsive 10-inch screen. If 3.0 is doing it for you, more power to you. More power to you. But I'm realistic about this. A DAW is going to be far superior, far more powerful than anything that you can do on a modern MPC. I don't care which one you have. It's far superior. So if you didn't add some outboard processing and other things, yeah. If you say I must not have learned it, I mean, listen, I know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a DAW. I know what I'm looking at. So it's not better to say I haven't learned it. Listen, I know Logic, Pro Tools, Ableton, and FL very well. Nothing on the MPC 3.0 is superior to any of those DAWs. Not one thing. Not one thing. So it is great that you love it if you're having a good time using that, because it's giving you a little bit more of a creative challenge. I see someone said limitations breed creativity. We just talked about that. We know that. We know that. So my question is, would you buy a limited DAW that just had 8 tracks of audio? And I mean, realistically, forget buy. There's plenty of free DAWs that only have 8 tracks and you can only use 8 VSTs. There's plenty of that out there already. So why didn't you use that? That's my question. If limitations breed creativity, why didn't you just use that? Right? Why didn't you just use the free Ableton Live that's been shipped with every single MIDI controller? Why didn't you use the free Pro Tools or all the other stuff that is free? If limitations truly breeds creativity, y'all should have been going ham sandwich with all the free DAWs that have these 8 track count limits and all this little, guidelines and whatnot that you have to follow in order to use this limited DAW. You didn't do that. You said, no, I need to have the full range of the DAW. You didn't agree with that. Like your whole logic is flawed with that, because if limitations truly breeded creativity, you would have used that and you would have banged out with that. And then a lot of you say, oh, well, the iPad, it don't have enough features. It don't have this and that. Really? I thought limitations breed creativity. So you should be able to get busy on Koala, right? Koala should be no problem. Koala has plenty of features on it. You can chop samples on it. You can bring in audio unit stuff, and you can do all the stuff there. Somebody say people don't like change. No, I mean, listen. If one thing's for sure, I don't know if you watch this channel, but we've been changing before a lot of folks been changing. Let me keep it a buck with you. We the first on a lot of things on this channel. So it ain't really about being afraid to change at all. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of limited things out here that you guys have turned your nose up to over the years. This whole oh yeah, the iPad. When I started doing the iPad stuff like years back, I don't want to see you do stuff on the iPad. People was tripping on when I just was on my little iPad roll for a while. I don't want to see that. I don't want to mess with the little screen and all this stuff. There was all these excuses about why the iPad wasn't it. Too many limitations, right? But limitations breed creativity. Boy, oh boy. Sometimes we just be saying stuff because it sounds cool. I don't think we being 100 with ourselves. Sometimes we saying stuff because it sounds cool. Um, I've said it before. I got videos from 15 years ago saying that. You preaching to the choir, like you're literally preaching to the choir on this. I got videos on this channel from 15 years ago with that. So it ain't about that. The reality is y'all want to be a part of a club, man. Y'all want to be a part of the club. And the club is Akai MPC. That's what the club is. And that's cool. If it makes you feel more confident about your music, I can't really, I can't knock that. I can't knock that. But like, you could save me the speech about it's about the limitations and all this stuff, because all of that is fake in the end. Because when we presented you with stuff where it had limitations, you scoffed at it. It's too good for that. You didn't want to do that. You didn't want to have those type of limitations. You didn't want to go and fiddle with the iPad screen because the 10-inch iPad screen was too small. But then when MPC X comes out with a 10-inch screen, this is the one because it has knobs too that also, have their limitations. Great. We gotta grow up, y'all. I think this is kind of showing that we got scammed. All of us that kind of bought into this whole like standalone MPC thing got scammed, because here we are back at a DAW. And I got a feeling that it's not going to end here. I got a feeling that the next step is, okay, cool. Well, now that we got a DAW, here's a subscription service where you get all the new sounds from NI and Akai and somebody said Spectrasonics and Arturia. Like, come on, like, when is it gonna stop? So are y'all cool with having a subscription on your standalone hardware now? Because that's where I see it going. It's a DAW now. So all the DAWs are trying. All the DAWs are trying to figure out a way to get subscription. So what's gonna stop Akai from trying the same thing at this point? And they have every right to. It's their business. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it either. They gonna do it because it's business and they gonna try it. Are you willing to pay a subscription for your MPC? That's the question. Are you willing to be locked in now that you got this new DAW? Now that you got this new DAW and they got all this new content coming from all your favorite content developers, right? It's very easy to put a subscription on that and say, yeah, we'll give you access to all the latest sample packs via subscription. And then as long as you pay that subscription, you can get access to all that. But as soon as you stop paying that subscription, then now, now your projects on your MPC don't load up at all. And now you're crying because you can't load up your beat from 2 years ago because you don't have the subscription any longer. You tell me. Like I said, some of y'all ain't gonna like this. Some of y'all ain't gonna like this at all. This video, like I said, if you don't like what I'm saying, hit the dislike button, hit the thumbs down for me if you don't like this video, because that's where I see it going. And I want y'all to be like really honest with yourself, because we've kind of moved all the way away from what made the MPC valuable. Somebody said start giving them ideas. I ain't giving them all ideas. Like, they know what time it is, fam. These are business people. I've worked with these people. I've worked with these types. This is not. I'm not giving them any ideas they don't already have. They have these ideas. They've been talking about this for years. at every company that you can think of. I'm not giving them any ideas. They all want to try it. All of them are sitting back and saying, oh my gosh, did you see what happened when Waves did it? Oh, we got to figure out a different way because we want to do subscription, but I don't know. Like, we don't want the whole thing that happened with Waves. We don't want that to happen to us because that's too damaging. And then they got to work so hard to get back into a good spirit and good space with the community again. No, man, I'm not talking drunk. Ain't nobody talking drunk, bro. Like, as someone that worked in music tech for the past really 20 years, but let's say at NI for the past 15 years, you really think I don't know what I'm talking about? You think I'm capping? You think I haven't seen that before? You think I wasn't there when sounds.com was the new thing, the new savior for native instruments? And subscription was the way forward, and it was going to democratize sound and music production. You think I ain't seen that before? Oh, I'm talking drunk. Okay, I got you. I'm talking drunk. Got you. Nah, fam, I ain't talking drunk here. I know exactly what I'm talking about here. And what's going on with Studio One? Is Studio One subscription? Let me know in the chat. Studio One subscription now? What about Reason? Didn't Pro Tools have a stint of subscription only? Am I cap or am I for real? Come on. Let me know. But I'm talking drug. Okay. Listen, I know you can get the perpetual of Pro Tools now and Studio One. They've learned, that's what I'm saying. They've all learned from the mistakes of Waves. They've all learned from that. They saw that and said, we have to do it a different way. That's what I just said. They know exactly what they're doing. So for me, no, I'm not giving them anything that they don't already know. They know exactly what direction they want to take this in. So now that they got you on a DAW, it's very logical for them to just say, let's make a subscription on top of this. Cool. What are you going to do about it? Are you willing to lock yourself into a subscription just to have access to new sample content? And at what point do you decide that, you have enough sample content and you should be working? Because what did somebody say earlier? Limitations breed creativity. So how much sample content do you need to be creative then? Do you need an unlimited subscription of sample content to be creative? I want to know. You let me know. You let me know, because y'all keep saying this stuff. Like I said, y'all keep saying like limitations breed creativity. Okay, cool. So then why are you paying for a subscription service for sample content? Somebody got to let me know. I don't know why. I don't know why, but you know what? Somebody got the answer here. At some point, you're gonna have to tell me, when do you have enough sounds to get busy? And I know some of y'all gonna say, well, new genres come out and I need the new Afro beat sound. And man, do you know Afro beats is a style that is really based out of like not having a lot of sounds and having to use like very simple instruments and things like, but you need all the new sounds, right? Because the new genre, I need the new Afro beats, I need this. Really? I need the new hip hop sounds and Hip hop, hip hop. You mean the genre that came from digging in the crates and having a knowledge of music and being able to find some things that were already in the house and turn that into a record. You talking about that? So you need all the new sample libraries that come out every time to be creative to make hip hop, which basically is derived from us being creative and not having access to unlimited sounds and all this stuff, right? Listen, that's why I said that's cap. The whole limitations breed creativity. It's cap because y'all ain't standing on it. Y'all are not standing on that at all. Because if you were standing on this, then like there would never ever be a case where you could say that I need a subscription service for sample content. If you were standing on that for real, there's no way. There's no way. Because you would say, well, no, I have some tools that I can use to create and record sounds. I'm gonna record my sounds, I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna build my own stuff, and I'm gonna come out with my sound. I don't need somebody else's sound. And that's no disrespect to my sound designers out there that do their thing, man. My sound designers that I've worked with over time, they do their thing. I'm not, I think if you're just starting, you do need something to start with. And I think the new sounds are a service to people that are just starting big time. It's helpful. I get it. I look at the analytics on this channel. We old, fam. I ain't saying you, we old. We are old. At what point do we have enough sounds to get busy? At what point do we have enough skills to get busy? See, I think a lot of it is we just want the shortcuts to, you know, really get ahead in this game. We're looking for the shortcuts, like the new sample pack, like, oh, I need this new sample pack because it's got the new trap, or it's got the new Afro beat, or it's got this, and I need that. Like, I get that. And, let me be a little bit less general, right? I understand if you work in film and television and you have to churn out cues left and right, and you need access to all the latest sounds because you have briefs and you have to deliver very quickly. A sample pack can help you get there very quickly. For the few of you guys that are actually doing film and television work, it is valid. Yak Diesel, I see you up in the chat. I see you up in the chat. If you want to, I'm gonna bring you up in a second if you want to talk. Just let me know in the chat on fan base, fam. Let me know if you want to come up, and I'll bring you up. For the very few of you guys that are actually doing film and television work, the sample packs and having the latest sounds helps you to stay on top of your work. That is not the majority of us out here. The majority of us are not doing film and television work where we need access to all that. Bolo, what's good with you, fam? Thanks for dropping by, man. The majority of us are not. So the reality is, what do you need all the sound kits for? For the old heads that are not doing film and television, you don't have briefs, up the yin yang where you got to turn out stuff in, the next 48 hours. What do you need an endless supply of sample packs for? Can you tell me? I think, again, you guys have kind of primed this situation to a point now where Akai has us right where they want us. It's a DAW. We're going to push it like a DAW. The next step is definitely going to be some type of subscription. And I told y'all years ago it was gonna go like this. So I told you, get your old MPCs that don't connect to the internet. Because as soon as you get something that connects to the internet, soon as it has Wi-Fi on it, it is going to be a problem. Once they put Wi-Fi on your drum machine, they are going to eventually add subscription. Bolo said, you don't need all those sounds. I use maybe 30 prime sounds and I use a few extras from time to time. Exactly. You don't need so many sounds. It's when you get old like me, and I'm sorry to put you on blast too, Bolo, but I know you older too, my bro. So when you get old like us, you don't need as many sounds. You just don't. You find the sounds that work, and then you keep it pushing. You don't need a gang of sounds. You definitely don't need a subscription of all the latest sounds, all the re-EQ'd and re-SSL'd and all those sounds that you already had probably from 20 years ago that someone said, I'm gonna put it through the Zulu and the SSL and the Neve, and now it's a new sound. Like I said, some of y'all not gonna like this video, so you hit the dislike button. Just like save me the drama, because I already know. At some point, you don't need all those sounds. You don't need all those sounds. Not as an older head. Like I said, I understand there are use cases when you need it. So I'm not a fool here. I'm not a fool here. I get it. Tyrone Sellers, I appreciate the super chat, fam. He said, you got to get Bolo out of here. Too much trouble. Man, Bolo is a grown man. He came in on his own accord. I did not invite him. If he needs to step out because we talking real stuff, I get it. I mean, I think Bolo is, he can do what he needs to do, man. Listen, I'm not an Akai hater, fam. I'm not an Akai hater. I actually, I'm a long time Akai user. I love Akai products, but I hate the direction that this is going in. This is a DAW, guys. It's a standalone DAW, but I don't think realistically any of us need a real standalone DAW. So, let me see here. I got a couple of folks in fan base now. Yak Diesel or who we got in here on fan base? I made 69. If any of y'all want to come up on stage and talk, let me know. We're gonna try this. There's something new here, so we're gonna try this. Let me know in the chat on fan base, and I'll bring you up. Just let me know. You raise your hand. You can raise your hand, and if you raise your hand, okay, boom, boom. Let me see if we can let you in here. Yak, what's good?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm blessed, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I just wanted to say that for me personally, I'm 54. So when I started, it was like the Digi 001 years. And as far as sounds, I mean, I dug for sounds for years. So it's like at this point for me personally, having the new MPC is I really don't, I'm not feeling that. And then I'm looking at the samples that's out there, and it's like that's kind of pointless. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you do go back to some of the workstations, and especially now, like you can get just some of them on eBay cheap, pretty cheap. And during that time, I never had a MPC. I just recently got like a 4,000 and I got a MV8000. So I'm learning these machines now, and I can appreciate uh, what you call page diving. That's like something, but uh, more or less as far as DAWs, like I got all the DAWs in the computer. It's just like, why would I buy a box to have a DAW?
Right. Right.
That's my. So I'm, that's me.
I completely agree with you, bro. It's like at some point now we got to realize that we already have a lot of this stuff. So we're being resold the same thing. And that's what I said with the whole like native instruments thing. A lot of you guys already bought the native instrument stuff on desktop, only to now be sold it again on the Akai platform. So at what point do we realize that we have a lot of the stuff that, and we don't need to rebuy it again? I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's a lot of regurgitated stuff out there.
Exactly. Exactly. Man, yeah, I appreciate you, Yak, man. I appreciate you for joining the chat. Let me see if anybody else want to come up, man. If you want to hop down, I will bring somebody else up. I'm gonna just do one at a time just to keep the stage clear. But I appreciate you, fam.
All right, appreciate you.
Yes, sir. All right. Terrence, I'm about to bring you up here. Hold on 1 second. Yak, if you can go on mute, that'd be good. I appreciate you. Yes, sir. Terrence, what's good with you, fam?
What's up, man? I watched all the content you were putting out while you were in NAM, and I have to agree with you as a veteran. I'm in my 40s, 46 years old, been in the industry 20, 30 years now, almost 27-ish years. And you're right. I mean, even today, as I'm diving back into music production, I'm still using the drums I used back in the day. Like, I got so many drums, I'm literally just giving them away to other people because I don't use them. You know what I mean? I'm like
Yeah.
creating expansion packs for other people who don't have these because I have them and I'm not going to use them because you fall back into a routine of what worked for you. I didn't get the platinum record using every goddamn thing under the sun. I got it using what worked with me.
Wait,
And that's the
what
thing.
record did you do, by the way? Let the folks know.
So I co-produced "There It Go," the whistle song for Joel Santana with my friend Darren Joseph. We actually made it in Reason and FL Studio, even though I had my MPC 2000 XL at the time. And um, the reality is, you just don't need all that stuff. I mean, even though I'm getting into the sound design business, and I still do licensing and sync and all that good stuff, it just like you said, there's a point when it's like, how much is too much? And you have to really reason with yourself about that. And what's killing me right now is listening to all of these people releasing sample loops and hearing the content. And because my ear came from that generation, I can tell which samples were AI generated and which ones are not. And it's killing me, man. Like, it's like, Jesus Christ, can we just pay some musicians to make the goddamn loops so that these people can actually have some real music to play with? And I have no issue with the AI generated stuff because I use some of it as well, but add to it. Don't just take the loop and just play it because it's very obvious. Um, so like, that's all I really had to say about that. But I feel you. Like, there's a point when you have to ask yourself, do I need anything else or anything more? Or do I have everything I need at my disposal right now?
Exactly. Exactly. That's real talk, man. I appreciate you for coming up and sharing that, man. Because I think that's the thing, bro. Like, a lot of people are kind of moving in this direction where it's like Akai can't do no wrong right now. So as soon as there's a subscription, they're gonna jump on that because they gotta have access to the new sounds too. And it's gonna be like, come on, man, that's exactly where they wanted you to be. So now you're not standalone, you're tethered to them forever because you have now a
Yep.
subscription.
Yep. And I talked about, I didn't talk about the subscription part, but I did talk about, not a rebuttal to Bolo's video because I actually agree with Bolo's video, but I wanted to point out that, people need to understand that it's okay to have both, desktop and standalone, but understand the business side of it too. There's still a company. Like, one gentleman was arguing with me in one of the MPC groups about how, standalone is it, and they got to buy, they're gonna sell these machines, and everybody's gonna make the companies to make their money off the machines. I'm like, no, they make money off of microtransactions.
Yes.
One of the Akai groups has 55,000 followers. Everybody who listen to this carefully and think about this. There is 55,000 followers in one of the Akai groups. And let's say they sell the native instrument plugin for $29 for one of those sample packs or whatever it is. right? So $30 times 55,000 people, if everybody bought it, is $1.5 million. What business is Akai in? It's not the machines. It's all the software,
There you go.
and that's the model they're moving towards, and you have to understand that. There's nothing wrong with it because they're a business. They have to do what makes them the most money with the least amount of overhead to get it going.
Yep.
But don't get it twisted. They don't care about you and your 4-year-old processor inside your MPCX. They don't care about that stuff.
Man, oh man, that's real talk, man. You're right. It is business, and you should expect them. If you want them to be around, they have to run business, and
Exactly.
they can't be in the business of making a standalone piece of hardware that's going to last you for the next 20 years and not sell anything else to you. So
Yep.
we're kind of trending towards, it's going to be about sample packs, and it's going to be about some new plugins and other little tools to help you to quote unquote sound better in your standalone device, man. So
Absolutely.
man,
And it's not about camps. It's not about camps, people. We got to stop thinking like that. Standalone or desktop doesn't matter.
it doesn't.
Make music.
It
Because at
doesn't.
the end of the day, they're just a business.
Real talk. Real talk. Appreciate you, Terrence, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. Man, like I said, Terrence, if you can go on mute for me. But
Yep.
yeah, like I said, if anybody else want to come up on stage, man, we're in fan base. I got a pin post up here. If you want to come up on board on fan base and chat for a little bit, we here. Make sure you get an account on Fanbase. If you come in on Fanbase, though, you gotta exit out of YouTube because it'll get some feedback. So if you want to come on Fanbase and chop it up with us, man. We here, man. I'm gonna be here for a little bit longer, but I appreciate y'all, man. It's 300 folks in here, man. So I know I hurt some feelings, man, but I appreciate the love, man. Just y'all coming in here, I appreciate y'all for chopping it up with me, man. All the engagement, even if you don't like what I had to say about what's going on, man, I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get in the chat for a little bit, but if anybody else if you want to come up on stage, man, let me know. I don't know if you're part of the producer community, but if you want to come up on stage, raise your hand. I will allow you to come up on stage and let's chop it up. But let me get to this chat here. Let me get to this chat. And let's see here. All right, so let's see here. He says Akai with a damn time signatures. Yeah, DAW with no time signatures is kind of weak. Yeah, on TK, go on mute when you get a chance because it brings you up off mute. Let's see here. I'm gonna make you moderator though. All right, cool. Nah, man. I don't know why we want this super limited DAW, and I think it's kind of weird. I'm gonna go back in time on the let's see here. Jaden Cash says all the Akai's VSTs cost 5x more than NI though. I mean, business. It's business. TJ says people tend to forget Akai is a standalone company who sells software, and Native Instruments is a software company who happens to sell hardware. Yeah, I mean that's a good synopsis. I think at some point, obviously, Native was kind of winning the hardware game, especially with the whole integrated system or integrated solutions concept with the hardware basically tethered to the software. But I think the market spoke and said, hey, we want standalone. And Native Instruments couldn't compete on a standalone level. So here we have it now. Akai is dominant. All good. Like I said, I was part of NI for 15 years. I saw it happen in real time. I don't think that it's a bad thing in the end that Akai came with something that they're known for and had really a huge legacy with. But at the same time now, to be moving it back into a space where it's just a DAW in the end kind of smells fishy for me. And I think at some point we're gonna see it's gonna flip on us. And like I said, anytime you got a standalone piece of hardware that has the ability to phone home via Wi-Fi, then you bound to have some trouble here. So I hope it don't go that way, but at the same time, I don't blame them. I blame us. I blame us for not being decisive about what we really wanted in the end. Because we said we want standalone and we want limitations, blah 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 blah, and now here we are with a limited DAW instead of like a powerful MPC that has a powerful sonic signature, but still has the classic MPC workflow and maybe a couple of modern conveniences. But nah, we wanted it to turn into a DAW, and we're going to get exactly what we asked for in the end. So here it is. Let's see here. Da, da, da. Lucrative Production says, get back to playing instruments. Agreed. But I mean, not all of the music styles and genres are about like virtuoso keyboard playing or guitar playing. But I agree, like it will help you. It definitely creates less dependency on samples in the end if you can play music and do things. I think samples are still a good way to obviously create the sound and shape the production. It's definitely a fast track to get in a specific sound and gives you the framework of a production much quicker than having to craft things yourself. So I think it's not all about playing. Sometimes it is about understanding sound design and having access to the different tools and equipment to really shape the record in a way. Because let's be honest, having a great sounding set of drums will get you a long way. It'll take you much further ahead than having to start with some weak drums and then having to figure out how to make them sound right. I get it. But at what point do you have enough to really do what you need to do in the end is the question. Let's see here. Don Michael Jr. says, can anyone summarize what the discussion is? Well, the discussion is this, Don Michael. We're talking about how the whole DAWless conversation, like the concept of DAWless being able to work without having a DAW involved, has kind of matured and evolved into this state where we now have MPC 3.0, which is essentially a standalone hardware DAW. And I'm asking the question, did we get scammed by this whole DAWless concept in the end? Because we bought into this idea of all these things that people have said in the chat, like limitations breed creativity, and DAW sucks, and it's not as human, and it doesn't have the same organic workflow, and I don't feel the beats the same way. All this stuff, right? And then all of a sudden now we have a hardware DAW that has 8 tracks of audio and 8 VST tracks, and we've been had DAW. So what are we doing? That's the question. What are we doing? And are we moving into a domain now where we are now willing to pay $2,600 to have a hardware DAW in a time frame where M4 MacBook Pros are just the same amount of money for much more power and much more capabilities? I don't know. I don't know what we're buying into here, but I feel like we're buying into something that's locking us back into an inferior DAW in the end. So that's just my thoughts. That's the synopsis of it. You can go back and look at the whole discussion. There was some great points brought up by folks like Yak Diesel and Terrence, and I think this will be an ongoing thing we'll have to look at. But I think we got, I think we got the okie doke, fam. I think we got the okie doke. Don Michael Jr., if you look at the MPC 3.0, it is now a DAW-based workflow. It's not like the classic MPC workflow. A lot of the classic MPC paradigms have shifted. It looks exactly like what you would have in a DAW. Things like the XL channel strip. XL channel strip looks just like a inspector on a DAW. Like, it's not any different. And all the other paradigms that it has really point to DAW. Like, oh yes, now you can look at from the track view, you can look at the MIDI notes and access the MIDI notes, but then you can just select the MIDI notes on the pads that you want to delete. It's a whole bunch of like workaround stuff that kind of emulates a DAW workflow from this hardware, but it makes it more cumbersome because realistically, you're now dealing with a 10-inch screen. You don't have mouse and keyboard action. You just have this touch screen that you got to do all these weird gestures just to get around and finagle with a 10-inch screen. And I know a lot of you guys, like I said, a lot of you guys old. I'm old. I got grays in my beard. I'm old. What we doing looking at a 10-inch screen and we got DAWs, and I remember if you look at my old YouTube channel or my old YouTube videos, I remember seeing videos where I'm in my studio and my wife bought me I think it was a 22-inch monitor, and it looks tiny on the desk. But that's what we had back then. And now we talking about like people got 40-inch plus monitors and they're cheap now. I remember my wife spent some good money on that monitor back then. And now the type of monitors you can get today, but you want to work on a 10-inch monitor because it says MPC. Not because it's got a better workflow, it's because it says MPC, because they just gave you a DAW workflow. I respect it if you go to the old school MPCs because the workflow on those is very concise and snappy. But this is not it. This is a DAW workflow with a dedicated controller. And it's like, why didn't you get an MCU controller? You know, why didn't you get a dedicated hardware controller for your DAW? Like, I know it wasn't sexy back then when it was like, you know, $1,000 for one of the Mackie Control Universal controllers for your DAW, but you could have had that and you could have bypassed this whole MPC topic altogether. So I don't understand where y'all coming from now at this point, because with the screens as large as we have now and all these dedicated controllers that you can get for your DAW, it's like you could be flying without a mouse. If you hate the mouse, but you want a DAW, why not that? I don't understand at this point, fam. I don't understand at all. So let me get back in the chat. I see y'all chopping it up a lot. Georgia Muscle Films, what's good with you, fam? Good seeing you at NAMM, bro. Yeah. We definitely talked about this, fam. We definitely talked about this at NAMM. Let's see here. Billy Batson says mouse should be an option. Absolutely. At this point, it's a DAW. So why not? Let's turn it into the MV8800 now. I mean, what are we talking about? Like have we not seen this before? Like, so let's go ahead and turn it into the MV800, right? Wait till the next major feature is, now we've added the ability to add a monitor to your MPC. I mean, what you think is going to happen? That's going to happen. Especially, I'm talking this right now, and we got 300 folks in here, and they're going to see this and say, oh, he said we don't have a monitor hookup. Like, let's hook up a monitor to it. Of course, yeah, let's hook up a monitor. Let's turn it into the MV8800 now. Let's hook up a monitor and mouse to it, and now, yeah, let's actually, we don't have enough ports on this one. So we actually need to make a new hardware for $2,600 that adds the connection. So we have the HDMI now. So then it could turn into an MV8800. How about that? And we're going to get them again, because they said they want a mouse and a larger screen. It's business. It's business. And I'm not telling you guys, Mr. Spacely, I know the MV is dope, bro. I know you came up on the MV too, man. I ain't clowning the MV. I'm saying we've already been here. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying the MV is weak. I had the MV as well. I think it's dope, but I can see where this is going. Like, if you guys say, oh, I want it, a standalone is dope, but I need to be able to use a mouse and I need to be able to use a bigger monitor. Cool. Let's sell you let's sell you a new MPC that has a HDMI output. How about that? Problem solved, right? Man, it's not drunk talk, man. It's real talk. It's real talk. Slang D, what's good with you, fam? Let's see. Charles 13X says Akai just needs to port the standalone GUI over to desktop and mobile. Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, do we really want the standalone GUI on the desktop? And then we got to use the desktop like it's the standalone with, come on, man. Come on, man. I don't know. Have you used any modern DAWs lately? Like, have you used the latest Logic or the latest Ableton or the latest Studio One? Like, they do a lot, man. They do a lot. I don't know if we actually really need the UI from the hardware on desktop just so we can use a mouse. And let me, from my experience, and it just may be me and might be my setup, but from my experience, the standalone of the X and the Live and the One are far superior as far as stability to the software, just from my experience. If we talk about like overall experience with MIDI and timing and all that, the standalone is way more rock solid as far as the timing is concerned. So I really don't even like using their software. It's not, it reminds me of the old days of using a PC based DAW where the timing was very sloppy and the MIDI was out of sync and it would just like be a nightmare to really make the MIDI and the timing work. It reminds me of that. So if you like that workflow on the desktop, cool. That don't work for me. That don't work for me. So the software, I don't even really like their software. I'd rather use a modern DAW because the modern DAWs are amazing. Modern Logic, modern Pro Tools, and I know I saw the whole Pro Tools thing. I know Pro Tools ain't the industry standard no more, and I saw all of it. But trust me, modern Pro Tools is better than Pro Tools 2005. Trust me. Ableton, FL, Studio One. It's all better than the software MPC. Like, do you really want to debate that? Do y'all really want to debate? Like, the modern DAW is way more solid as far as the timing and just the overall ability to handle plugins and all that stuff. It's way better on your modern DAW than it is on the MPC software. So I don't know that porting over the UI from the hardware is going to solve those problems. I don't think it will. Let's see here. Seeking Truth only says the software is stable. There are just more variables. What are you using for MIDI interface? Listen, even if I'm just using the built-in MIDI interface on the MPC X, it should have stability. It should have stability. And that's what I primarily will use when I'm using the software. It's just the built-in interface on the MPC X. I have other MIDI interfaces, but just that one alone. And even if I don't use MIDI, even if I'm just using VSTs, it's just not as stable as far as the timing is concerned. You want to argue that? That's cool. That's just my experience. Like, I would rather use it in standalone anyhow. But again, I bought it because it was a standalone workstation that worked like a classic MPC. I ain't buy it for it to work like a DAW. Someone say just get solid plugins. Like, what plugin? What company makes the most solid plugins? And just keep in mind that primarily I use Native Instruments plugins. Are they a solid software company? Maybe I've been in a bubble. Maybe Native Instruments is not a solid software company. But if that's the case, if Native Instruments is not a solid software company, then I don't understand why y'all are like, yay, like Native Instruments is on a kind now. If that's not a solid software company, you tell me. But I mainly use Complete, I use the Korg stuff every once in a while. That's what we talking about, man. We talking about like plug-in instruments, man. We talking about like software instruments here. It's not very stable in my opinion. But if you say Native Instruments is not a solid plug-in company, then just let me know. Like which one is? Which one is? Okay. Rolling Cloud. Rolling Cloud is okay, that's the one. Okay. Spectrasonics. Okay. Arturia. Let's see. Native Instruments be wildin'. Okay. Expanding on that, Billy. What you mean by that? They be wildin'. What you mean by that? Yuhi, Omnisphere, okay. JT says Live and Push 3 is what I've been using to create the most at the moment. That's dope. That's dope. Mark Lee says 2.15.1. Staying there, buddy. That's where we gonna stay. That's where we gonna stay for real. Let's see here. I thought NI was a solid platform, but maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Let's see here. Boom Boom Baby says I came from FL. The MPC sounds better. I have to do work in FL to match what the MPC naturally put out. If you make a beat on the MPC and adjust your sounds, it will sound radio ready. Okay. Which MPC are you using? Which MPC? Curious. Because you say MPC like there's a general MPC sound, and I would argue that there is not a general MPC sound at all. I would say that they all sound quite different, actually. And we've done a series of tests on this platform that really highlight the fact that they don't sound the same. So I'd be curious to know which one you're saying gives you a radio ready sound just by putting the sounds in it. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that completely, but I would like to know which one you're using. Born Elevation, a hybrid setup is the best of both worlds. I agree, man. That's where it really is at. It's like hybrid is the way, man. Like you can't say I'm all hardware or all software today. It's 2025. What are we talking about? Music Maker says Cherry Audio is low key doing it big. Word. Let's see here. Billy Bassett says, and I bricked my compact. Man, you talking about old school stuff. Compact, intact. Yeah, man. Like they got rid of that long time ago. They got rid of that before I got on board at NI. Because I remember, there were folks like Polo the Don that were like, yo, intact, this is my joint. And like, it was like that for real. Polo the Don and my good dude, Sound Oracle. They was like, yeah, intact was long gone by the time I got on board. So you talking about old school stuff right here. Okay, you said you got the One Plus. Okay. I still don't know that I agree with you, to be honest about that. But I mean, if it's getting better results for you for what you do, more power to you. I'm not saying that you're not getting the results that you like. I'm just not convinced that it's necessarily like radio ready just because it's in the MPC one. I think the MPC one definitely doesn't sound as good as like prior models of MPCs, but I don't know how you're treating it and what you're doing. And there might be some other things you're doing that I don't know about that are improving the sound. And especially if you're like if you're using outboard processing or anything like that, listen, you could be getting a better sound than what you were getting in FL. That's I think you're in every right to say that. Bookworm says, I used to love NI plugins, don't always love NI's business practices, don't like the direction NI plugs are going in now. Seems like preset pimping, not as good for sound design in my opinion. Yeah, they've moved into a sound pack business model, like they're not in the days of Absinthe and Reactor's not the dominant platform anymore. I think when they were in that reactor dominant phase, you really had the idea like, hey, I could build my own synthesizer or my own effect unit and put that into my production. And that's what people were doing. They were like, yo, I'm gonna learn Reactor and I'm gonna build this like synthesizer of my dreams, or I'm gonna build this effect unit of my dreams, and then I'm gonna put that into my music production and I'm gonna have my own sound. And it's not like that anymore. And part of it is our fault, to be honest. Part of it is our fault because they can't keep that around if the market is shifting and nobody is investing into Reactor, and we're not learning things like Reactor where we can continue to like build up that platform and keep it relevant. Like, this is business. So if we don't support the sound design platform, guess what? They have to at some point make a decision to say, this is not going to sustain our business anymore. This is no longer viable for us. So we need to move into something that actually will allow us to continue to make a profit. And if sample packs and preset packs are what's going to sustain the business, they're going to do more of that. And you're not going to see Reactor. You're not going to see, Absinthe. You're not going to see other things that used to be what really NI was known for. It's like, hey, this is a great platform to do sound design. I mean, even if you look at how Contact is maintained now, uh, we don't use Contact as a sampler. We use Contact as a sample pack player. Contact is a sampler. Now, I will say that I wish, and I've recommended this. This ain't the first time that this been said, but I do wish that Contact actually had the ability to record audio. I know they just added Leap and all that stuff, right? They just added Leap, but realistically, it needs the ability to record. And then people will be reminded that it is a sampler. Because if Contact could then record, and then you can use things like Leap and KSP and all that other stuff, then it would turn into a different ball game. But I figure they probably don't want it to be able to record, because if it's recording, then who's going to buy sample packs? Because now you're recording your own sounds and making your own sample libraries. And who wants that to happen, right? Why should you be, why should we empower people to make their own sample packs and sample libraries if we can just sell them the sounds? They don't have to make their own sample packs. That's too hard, right? Too hard for us. We're not smart enough to make our own sample libraries, right? I'm gonna let y'all chew on that for a second, man. Like, let that simmer in your soul. We're not smart enough to make our own sample libraries, right? Too much work, too much effort, too much cost, right? But we do have $3,000 to spend on a new limited DAW, right? We got that. But spending money on our own sampling sessions and recording with musicians and chopping up the samples and making our own sample pack, we can't do that. God forbid we do that. This is exactly where they want us to be. This is exactly where they want us to be. They want us to think like this. They want us to think where we don't empower ourselves. And adding things like the ability to record audio puts you too close into empowerment, really. I think at one point they were closer to empowering that community. Like, hey, there's Reactor. You can build your Reactor synths. You can build your own stuff, and you can put it in the Reactor community. He says one tells a sample library for those interested. It could be as simple as a collection of samples and sounds that you recorded for a very specific use case. That use case could be for producing a specific genre of music, or it can be for producing a very specific type of production. But a sample library is essentially a collection of sounds. It could be a collection of waves, or it could be a collection of sounds that are put in a very specific sampler format for the purpose of producing a very specific type of sound production. That's what a sample pack is. But yeah, I'm not gonna make this video too long, guys. You guys have heard the rant. We've been on here for about 1 hour and 39 minutes. I greatly appreciate you guys for joining and chopping it up with me. It's been an amazing conversation. We tried something new today. We got on fan base, and we had some folks come in and give their opinions and stuff. So I appreciate y'all, Terrence and Yak Diesel. I appreciate y'all for coming on board on Fanbase. If you're not on Fanbase, also get on Fanbase, fam. We're gonna be doing more of this. I'm gonna do some more audio only stuff as well. Get on Fanbase. Click the link in the pin link if you don't have Fanbase, because we're gonna be talking about stuff on Fanbase too. And this is a great way to invite you guys up without having to get on a video conference, because y'all, everybody ain't ready to get on no video conference and stuff with me. But this is a great way to come in and speak your mind and not be a chat warrior, because I know how that could be. It's easy to be like, yeah, in the chat room, like you hate you this and that. But when you got to come up on stage, it's a different ball game. But it's all respect and all love. I'm not trying to create a situation where it's about being adversarial. I really want to just have a conversation, guys. So join Fanbase as well, man. Click the link, join Fanbase. This is a great way. And by the way, Fanbase is a platform where you guys could actually get paid to do your own content, by the way. That's why I like Fanbase, because basically you guys could get on, build your audience, and you can get paid for your content immediately. It's not like YouTube where you got to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And it's ridiculous to actually get there in 2025. You don't have to have all that to start getting paid on Fanbase. You can actually get on Fanbase immediately. So get on Fanbase. And furthermore, True Sound Creators, the membership here, we're dropping exclusive videos here. We've been dropping some heat. This week we dropped an exclusive video interview with Snipe Young. We got interviews with Divided Souls and the almighty EA Ski coming up for True Sound Creators. So join the membership, fam. It's $4.99. We have over 40 hours of music production footage, videos, and all kinds of wisdom and whatnot stored up in that True Sound Creators membership. So go get access to that, man. This is some heat here. And I'm letting it go for not too much, but more to come on the True Sound Creators. So if you're not already a member, join now. We should be having the Divided Souls interview coming up by next week, and then by the end of next week or early week after, we should have the EHQ one up. So we got some stuff coming, man. So stay tuned. We do these live streams Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Central Time. So if you want to join live, that's going to be the time to join in, and that's where you can get into the Fanbase chat and also chat with me directly, man. So I really appreciate y'all, man. If you got some value out of this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know how it goes here, man. It's YouTube, man. I appreciate y'all, man. We're going to end it here. Until next time, I want to tell y'all peace and God bless.